With our fourth year in the Dynasty now complete and the Pop-Tart Bowl trophy proudly displayed, we move on to another offseason in the Miami Hurricanes Dynasty. It's time to look ahead to year 5 and try to get Miami back to the college football playoff. With a great defense and quarterback David Kinoy taking over, I thought we were about to become a playoff team again, but losing 4 of 5 to end the year ended those hopes. It's hard to see Kinoy as our quarterback going into year 5, but who is going to emerge to be the new starter? Will Colin Kunalik return, being redshirted this year, and develop in a way that makes him the starter yet again? Could Sergio Keenan end up developing and build upon a really good second half in the Pop-Tart Bowl? I think his caps will limit the chances of that. The player I'm really excited to see today is Shakir Barmore, the number 1 quarterback in the country, taking over a team that needs a quarterback. I don't think we'll be going to the portal this season. We're going to solve this problem, probably between Barmore and Kunalik. Here is a look at everybody who will be redshirted this year. Colin Kunalik played 4 games, so he is eligible for that redshirt season. We had a few other players get on the field for 3 games, and hopefully some of these freshmen can take a big leap because we're going to need some new stars to emerge here in Season 5. One position I'm really focused on today is going to be running back. I would like our team to be much more run-heavy going into next year, but who replaces Chris Johnson as the lead ball carrier? It could be Max Boger, it could be Randy Titus, it could be somebody else entirely. The portal will be somewhere we look to potentially add a more experienced player. I'd also like to see somebody at receiver breakout this year, but I'm finding that a lot of these receivers don't have the best skill caps. Jaden Mastrud, for instance, has already reached every one of his caps as a 4-star player. Can't remember if he was labeled a bust or not, but those players do not develop very much. I'd really like to see Sean Simons break out. I think he's got an archetype that would be really fun on this team. He's a physical receiver, 6'1", and his game was built off of spectacular catches with 91 speed, and he just needs to develop more as a route runner to get on the field. We're also trying to add an offensive coordinator, and our current offer to Shakir Ankra is pending. We'll see if he ends up taking it. I have not really worked with that part of Dynasty yet. Chris Johnson is the ACC Offensive Player of the Week with his great Pop-Tart Bowl performance. What a way to end his career. I had also seen that Marquise Lightfoot worked his way into the Miami record books, and he ends with the single-season sack record now at the school. We'll see if anybody can hit that 20 mark. We've got some really good options that could actually do it. So we did end up hiring Shakir Ankra then, which will give us a South Georgia pipeline, which might help us against the Bulldogs, who have won a fair bit of battles against us already. What I couldn't do before, though, is actually get a closer look at his coach abilities. So with Ankra, we are going to get a little bit of a quarterback boost, but a really good D-line boost where we're already strong, a linebacker boost, and then the Tier 4 offensive line boost. So I'm really happy with these upgrades. I would have liked something for the running backs, but I think these are going to be really helpful. Miami didn't make it in this year, so here are your college football playoff teams, including the UAB Blazers. That is awesome. They were the number 2 seed apparently, 12-2. But if we look at the conference champions, Ole Miss 13-2, Michigan 12-3. The conference champions seem a little bit weaker than in some years. Penn State ends up as the 6th seed, being the runner-up to Michigan. They get knocked out in the first round by Notre Dame. But here at the end, it's Michigan and Ole Miss battling it out for the championship. And Michigan is victorious. They are on top of the college football world once again, 34-14. All right, so let's get this offseason underway then with the players leaving stage. As a reminder, I do not convince running backs to return if they declare to the NFL draft, and I don't convince anybody that is projected to go in the first 3 rounds as a way to make the series a little more realistic and challenging. On we go. Players leaving. And the one player we're going to have to talk to here is JoJo Trader. Otherwise, we should have more players go in the first few rounds. Chris Johnson, a projected 3rd-round pick. Surprisingly, only 3 players are projected to get drafted. Not our strongest team, obviously. But JoJo Trader, a big part of our offense. We have a very high chance of persuading him to stay. And he does, as opposed to being a potential 7th-round selection. Nobody transfers away. No one declares early. And I can't believe Marquise Lightfoot did not declare, because he should be a top 5 pick. And here are the players that will be leaving. It is only 10 seniors. Most of these guys are starters and key players, and some of them are going to be pretty tough to replace, like Chris Johnson. Oh, we end up with 4 picks, actually. Josh Horton sneaks into the 6th round, which the more the better. That helps our pro potential grade in our recruiting profiles, so that does matter a little bit. But let's get to recruiting, where I am done when it comes to high school recruits. I have way more than the 10 players that we are replacing. So anybody else we add is going to be from the portal. Willis McGahee IV. Come on. His dad went to Miami. We are going to be recruiting Willis McGahee. We can always use more pass rushers. The positions I actually consider to be needs in the portal are running back, linebacker, and corner. If we go to running back, a lot of players are locking us out, and we have a couple 2-star players. But this is really disappointing. I'm not sure we can talk to anybody above a 2-star. Oh, the deal breaker is what's hurting us here. I thought we had good enough rushing success to recruit running backs in the portal. Power backs want rushing yards. Why does it say we have 85 yards per game? I would like to believe that Chris Johnson, with his 1,200 plus yards, gives us a greater than 85-yard average. Elusive back is at 85 because it's just all rushing yards or receiving for receiving back. So it appears a lot of these playing styles then have to be bugged, because that does not make any sense. They're not like way off. We ran for 96 yards a game, which honestly isn't that great. I think that the sack yardage there probably hurts. But it's not good enough to recruit players in the portal. That's one thing to keep in mind. Those playing style deal breakers are one of the biggest things that gets a player in the portal. So they're going to go to a team that satisfies that deal breaker. And if you have an area where you struggled the previous season, it can really damage your recruiting efforts with the way it is in this game. I'll look at quarterback just to show you what is here. But again, we're not able to talk to highly rated players, so we're not going to bring anybody in. Not a single 4-star receiver is in the portal, so I don't think we're going to recruit anybody here either, but I guess we'll scout Marquise Cobbs and see what he has for a skill set. I will scout Byron Worrell. He's a pass coverage archetype, and I'm more interested in adding some off-ball linebackers if we can. But the options I have this year are just so limiting. This is going to be the quickest offseason, probably all series. Here's a freshman corner that's entering the portal. It's nice to sometimes add these players that have a lot of years to still get better. And one thing I'm looking for is more athleticism. There are so many fast receivers in this game, and if your corners don't have that athleticism, you can quickly run into trouble. So, especially at our level, we're Miami, we're facing the best of the best. We need to make sure our secondary can handle receivers that get deep. So I only have a handful of targets right now on the board. This is pretty disappointing. Willis McGahee, the 4th, 85 speed, 82 power move. Realistically, he's probably like a 4th edge rusher, maybe even 5th. Marquise Cobb's a physical receiver, does have pretty good short route running, 95 release, 78 catching. I don't know, our receiver depth chart is really competitive. I'm not sure he's got starting potential with us. 77 zone coverage, 79 speed. That is just not going to be enough for us. Now we go to corner, Angelo Ventura, 93 speed, 80 man coverage. I'd like to have some high zone coverage. We don't have an idea of that with him. I'd actually consider bringing him in. Trey Hendricks, 83 zone, 90 speed. Similar speed to the cornerbacks that we have, though. I'm trying to find players that have a bit more. Matthew Schneck, 90 speed, 92 zone, playing free safety. I do think could be a good fit. Here are the cornerbacks that we have currently, and keep in mind that Stafford and Massey are graduated now, so we're going to see change there. Marquise Gainwell's a pretty good athlete, a zone archetype corner. Then you've got Oscar Virgin, a man-to-man corner, 90 speed, 90 acceleration. Matt Freeman has good athleticism. Maybe he takes a bit of a leap. Zone archetype on him. And yeah, the Caps probably make him more of a mid-80s player at his ceiling, which is still starting caliber. I'm back in the portal looking at other 4-star players we have the chance to at least recruit. There are some offensive linemen. We are going to scout them. And they're both sophomores going into their junior season upcoming. So Carlos Gutierrez, 77 pass block, 91 run block finesse. I'm not sure that cuts it for our roster right now. Nate Teague, 95 strength, 92 pass block power, 86 run block power. I do kind of like this skill set. He's definitely a pass blocking focused interior player. That's been kind of an area of concern for us. And then with these cornerbacks, I'm considering offering to Angelo Ventura. He has the 93 speed and the 80 man coverage. But our best athletes have zone archetypes, so if we get a more athletic man-to-man corner, that kind of fills a gap that we had on the team. And then we can also get Willis McGahee an offer and see if he wants to come to Miami. So apparently when it comes to these visits, the only thing that actually matters here is if they're complimentary visits or not. So you're not playing a game, you're not getting progress there, but if you can put a couple of these prospects on visits in the same week, then it's actually beneficial. So we'll see if we can get anything complimentary, but only going for one offensive lineman, so I probably can't do anything with that. I have all these points, though, like, I can't use them all anyway. McGahee wants coach prestige, we'll go with that. But that's basically all we're doing here in the first stage of recruiting. We have 4 targets, essentially. We're going to set up a week 2 visit, and this will be Matthew Schneck along with Angelo Ventura, which I believe would be complimentary. It's a safety and a corner, but I don't see any feedback that it actually is. We got the top 3 all sold for Angelo Ventura pretty quickly, and this battle is a close one with the Crimson Tide. So we're actually losing pretty badly right now for Nate Teague. FSU is out in front. We're in first for Matthew Schneck. Angelo Ventura puts us above Alabama this week, and we're probably getting Willis McGahee. There we go. We had to bring him to Miami. We also get Angelo Ventura. However, Nate Teague does commit to FSU this week. Matthew Schneck comes to Miami, and we get 3 players through the transfer portal. Nobody I kept on the board ended up flipping or anything. So when all is said and done, Miami has the number 1 ranked recruiting class in the country with 7 5-star players. Nobody else had more than 4, and only 5 teams had multiple. Very star-studded class for us this year. Hopefully some of them can make an early impact. I think we're at a stage in the series where we need that in some areas. Now this is becoming my favorite part of the offseason. It is seeing where the athletes actually fit. So Ted Good was meant to be a running back all the way and is an 80 overall on day 1, which is really good if we want him to play early. 85 strength, 91 speed with 81 ball carrier vision. There's really nothing else I want him to play. Running back is his best position by far. He could also be a pass rusher. Marquez Monty was brought in to be a running back at a very different archetype. Tight end is also a fit, 5'11", 198. Not prototypical tight end build, but defense is also something to look at. As running back, he's only a 72, whereas could be a 74 in the secondary. Monty has 77 ball carrier vision, 74 break tackle. There aren't a lot of running back skills that really stand out beyond the speed and acceleration. So if you go to defense, oh, he's got some receiver skill too. He can run routes. 82 release. So wide receiver suddenly looks very interesting. While on defense, he's not a great tackler, not a big hitter, and has some okay coverage ratings. I guess I'd like to see his caps at all these positions. I think for the time being, I'm going to list him as receiver, and I can always change his position later on. And then we get Shakir Skaggs, who has the agile archetype, which is an offensive line archetype, but defensive tackle and tight end are his best positions. Skaggs has 79 speed, 82 acceleration, and 91 strength at 6'4", 289. So he could be a difference-making athlete in the middle of this defensive line. His blocking ratings are all high 70s into the low 80s. He has 85 tackling, 81 power moves, 84 block shed, and he can rush with both finesse and power. I think he's got to be a defensive player based on this. That's just too high of a ceiling with his athleticism and literally being able to stop the run, rush with speed, rush with power. That is the type of football we're trying to play. The other position change I wanted to make here was moving Randy Titus to wide receiver just to get him more development there. I do think he has perhaps a higher ceiling at receiver, but I think he's still going to play in a hybrid role, but I want his receiver skills to become a little more refined. I'm actually considering another change here. This is wide receiver Jaden Mistrud. He has reached all of his caps at wide receiver. It's hard to see his route running getting him on the field. He could be a deep threat, maybe catch like 3 passes a year, but he has 92 ball carrier vision, 82 trucking, and 83 juke with 80 spin. Like, he's definitely a running back with that skill set. And it's his highest rated position, receiving back. He was recruited as a wide receiver. I don't recall Mistrud being an athlete. So it turns out he's not at his best position. And honestly, some of those skills are good enough to put him in the RB1 conversation. Now, no, this is pre-development of Max Boger, but Jaden Mistrud is probably going to have some of our best ball carrier vision and best elusive skills. I'm glad I caught that. But I think as far as position changes go, I'm happy with that. And yeah, finding Jaden Mistrud and that running back skill set there, you really got to double check some of your recruits and see what else they can do. Because I do not believe he was an athlete, but he has the skill set of one. We have Elite Recruiter unlocked, so I know we had a top-ranked recruiting class. I think that's one of the qualifiers to unlock that tree. Let's go to training results now. I always love seeing the big leaps, and there are some surprising ones in this game. Here is your Miami Hurricane roster. Lightfoot, a 92. Truly an 88, which I don't think really changed at all, so he seems to still be roughly the same player. We got Cam Pruitt at a 91. Caesar Chin, 91 overall. That seems to be a pretty big leap. Our interior has not been that strong. You got Cole McConaughey, Lester Judovsky. He's up to an 89 as a sophomore, ready to make an impact. JoJo Trader at an 88. Let's go position by position, as Colin Kunalik reclaims the top spot in terms of quarterback overall. 94 speed. And his accuracy definitely went up a couple points, but I worry that nothing here can change some of the interception-prone tendencies he has. It's a decision-making problem, I think, more so than accuracy. Although higher deep throw accuracy is obviously welcome, that's something he struggled with at times. David Kinoy, 82. Sergio Keenan, 81. And then Shakir Barmore is a 77. So, as far as, like, speed, Kunalik is the best, Keenan second best. For throw power, Barmore is number 1. For short accuracy, David Kinoy is number 1. But really, I'm not sure if it's so much about short accuracy versus quick pass decision making. Like, if you're less accurate, but you get the ball out, like, quickly to the right guy, I can live with some off-target throws. For medium accuracy, David Kinoy is also number 1. For downfield accuracy, it is also Kinoy, but it doesn't seem to be a strength of any of our quarterbacks. Barmore does have some really good running skills with spin, juke, and break tackle, and he has 83 speed, so I fully expect Barmore to be a quarterback that would run a fair bit. At the running back position, Max Boger is an 86, and Jaden Mastrud, now training to be a running back, 85. Both have similar speed and acceleration. Mastrud actually has more strength. They are both receiving back running backs. So Ted Good is the only running back here that's listed over 200 pounds. Keep in mind, Randy Titus is still going to be a running back, but 199 pounds. If you want power, then Good's going to have to play as a true freshman, and I'm fully prepared for that to be the case. Mastrud, though, stands out with ball carrier vision. It's also good for Johnny Boone and Max Boger. But I think with the way things are going into the year, we're going to have to rotate possessions and give everybody a chance to see what they can do. I think it's Boger, Mastrud, Good, and Titus. And we'll sort it out from there. The question marks on this team, by the way, are absolutely going to impact the way I structure our schedule this season. We'll talk more about that when we get there. Here are the wide receivers. Trader and Slaughter are 88 overall. We have a lot of speed on this team. We have Sean Simons taking a leap. So who becomes the third receiver? You know Trader and Slaughter are going to play. But Sean Simons is the guy that I wanted to see take a leap. 96 short route running. Well, that's going to take care of that then. Elite short route running, spec catch, and I know he has good release. Some of the best release on the team. I think you go Simons and Slaughter on the outside, Trader in the slot, and that should be a good supporting cast for whoever the quarterback ends up being this year. At tight end, whoa, Tyreek Teague takes a big leap, but keep in mind, he is really just a blocking tight end with 73 speed, 77 acceleration. Now, Emmanuel Harris got all the snaps last year and looked pretty good for a stretch. But he did not end up developing much this season. If you want someone that can stretch the field and has that skill set, Kevin Andrews is up to an 83 overall. He is actually faster, but with slower acceleration. He has similar hands and a little bit worse route running. If run blocking is your tiebreaker, Andrews is the better player. We could be flipping at the tight end position. I also think Teague could be playing a little bit in the tight end 2 role, but very intrigued with Kevin Andrews. To the offensive line, where Kevin Irving is listed at an 88, and D'Angelo Pitts an 86. We're replacing Samson Okunlola. If I had to project our starter, Pitts has more complete ratings for pass protection, much better pass block power, better awareness, so I would give him the edge there. At left guard, Caesar Chin up to a 91. Derek Plaz an 86. Keep in mind I'm going off of just the overall listed here. This is including the coach ability boost. So their true overall is on their player card on the right-hand side. At center, Fernando Flores ends up taking a leap. He was our 4th highest rated, I believe, last year. But now as a redshirt freshman, is going to be pushing for the starting job. Good run blocker, good run block finesse, and very good athlete. Very critical at the center position, getting into the second level, setting up some good running lanes. So this could end up being Fernando Flores. Although Nino Francavilla is also really interesting. At least we're running into a situation where I have a couple guys that like to start at all these positions and not like nobody. Channing Barnes could be in the mix for a new starting role, as our interior does look like it's going to be a lot better. Barnes, though, really struggles against athleticism. That 63 finesse could keep him out of a starting job, as Devian Christie would have a more balanced skill set, but you can also consider playing Plaz there. And then at right tackle, Alan Edmond is up to an 85. He started last season. I think he was a really good player and will continue to develop. So that should lead to a pretty good offensive line this season. And we have a lot of very good pass rushers on this team. We have some mainstays, guys like Marquise Lightfoot. And then we have the best pass rushing bench. I mean, you could have all four starters get hurt, and I'm not sweating it. Lester Judowski, Tremaine Treadwell, these guys are too good to be backups, honestly. I think this game needs to look more at playing time being a big transfer portal motivation, so I'd have to make tougher decisions between who to play, because some of these guys just should not be on the bench, but they're going to have to be. Lightfoot up to a 92. He's elite. We know that. Sharif Ladd, an 88. Kevin Dombrowski, an 84. Dombrowski played sparingly last year and should become a starter immediately with very good finesse moves. But again, no one stands out as a top-tier run defender. Shakir Skaggs could become that. He could also be very good at everything. I think it's a legitimate question if I redshirt him this year. I probably should, and I think he's going to be really good if his caps don't hold him back. A linebacker, Tony Rizzo, 85. We like him for his coverage primarily. He can even rush the passer. But yes, has developed very well as a coverage linebacker. Cam Pruitt, 91. Damian Rawlings, he was from that very first recruiting class, and I feel like his career has been very quiet because he's not great against the pass. So he doesn't see the field as much. Quan Byam, 85 overall as a true sophomore. He doesn't have the best coverage, so I can't see him playing significant snaps, but as a run stopper, he is developing very well. And then at corner, Marquise Gainwell. How did you all of a sudden get 99 speed, acceleration, and agility? He will be starting as our number one corner. We have Oscar Virgin at 90 speed, Matt Bouchard, Matt Freeman. So thankfully, that athleticism has developed. You know, anytime you have all these new faces in the secondary, you got to see how it fits together. But very excited now about Marquise Gainwell. And then at safety, Zaquan Patterson is an 87. He's been a playmaker and a ball hawk. We got Isaiah Thomas as an 83. Deontay Witherspoon, a 79. And then I had recruited Matthew Schneck. And there's a chance he plays because of that elite zone coverage. And he has 81 catching to go with it, too. Willie Shembo, 86. It's his final season. And his successor is already on the roster, developing in Dylan Chosen. Ricky Thomas up to 76. He was like a 68 last year. So I think that's really good. There were a lot of simulated punts where he would kick it like 27 yards and there would be like a 15-yard return. And it's like, well, what was the point of punting in the first place? Okay, so I do have to cut 10 players. I have a few too many on this team. And there are a lot of positions where there are obvious cut candidates. Let's go to safety, for instance. I have a lot of free safety. So we're going to start off here with Junior Sergio Quitoriano. Hugh Benson is only a 68 listed at outside linebacker. We'll cut Jamison Rust. His elusive skills just aren't elusive enough. We're going to cut Junior Terrell Jordan, who's just not in line to get any playing time. We're also going to cut tight end DeMar Friend, only 60 medium route running. That hasn't developed enough. Travis Parmalee, a 79 is released. We're going to release Taylor Trejo, safety Eric Nava, along with safety Tremont Doris. And the final player cut will be George Armour at tight end. We just have too many other options there. I wanted to see how much better Titus had gotten too with his receiver skills. He's an 83 here. Route running looks pretty solid. And then for the elusiveness, 90 juke, 82 spin move. And he did actually get faster. He was only an 89 speed last year. And now, with 94 acceleration to go with that speed, I'd be really curious to see him at both positions, like was the plan. So you can actually just go in here at any time in the edit position and edit non-NIL players' positions. So the position changes in the offseason, it just gives you a nicer interface to see all the possibilities in their overall there. But that also helps determine where they're going to be developing for that next year. So that's why I did things that way. But flipping him back to running back, he just became a 94. With 99 carrying, 90 ball carrier vision, 83 break tackle. All right then. Randy Titus could be our RB1. I would still say we have to see all four of these guys play to see who's the 1 and the 2 and the 3. Can't see us regularly using 4 running backs. And I still think that Ted Good is probably going to be one of the 3 because he's the only power back. Let's go to Shakir Barmore, check out these caps. Barmore, a 5-star, number 1 ranked quarterback in the class. We've got very good caps, thankfully. Accuracy only has the 1 spot grayed out. IQ, the same thing there. And what about his traits at the position? So, scrambler quarterback, average sense of pressure, ideal decision maker. I'm not sure what the traits you want are, but his sense of pressure and decision making are the same as Kinoy. What could be different though is just what the QB style does to his decision making. This is Sergio Keenan, who I thought made good decisions, but has a paranoid sense of pressure. But then Kunalik is paranoid and he's an interception machine. So maybe don't look too closely at the traits. Just watch how they play. Here is running back Ted Good. His caps are very good. He should develop into a really nice power back and could even be one immediately. I talked about Marquez Monty and wanting to see his ceiling at a few different spots. For receiver, I think that with route running where it is, it'd be hard to see him becoming an impact player there. Switching him to safety actually shows a pretty high ceiling. He could become a really good starting caliber safety who's more athletic than most other safeties. At running back, I think it's the similar conversation to him at receiver. I think he's just better as a defensive player. 5-star Malcolm Schomer. Was really excited to get him in this class. 6'4", physical archetype. He's got great speed at 97 and has the ability to develop a lot as a route runner. I think he'll be an eventual big-time starter for us. Moses Howe, elite development at guard, and very few restrictions on his development. We haven't had elite interior offensive linemen. I think this is going to be the best year yet for the interior, and it should only be up from here. Nino Francavilla, why does it do this now? It keeps pulling up the wrong player card. Star Dev, Athea Diawara, and his caps are pretty favorable. He should have a high ceiling. Tackle Alan Luck, 4-star. Quickness, run block, pass block, those have annoying caps. Teddy Shelley has impact dev, and usually the offensive linemen don't come in with the sleeve. I kind of like that. It's a little bit different. And his pass and run block restrictions are not looking great there. But I think, starting off as a 77, being able to get better, if you could become a mid-80s player there along the offensive line, you can eventually start. Jalen Creer, 80 overall. And he's a freak. 5-star player, 6'4", 288. 87 speed, 87 awareness, and sky's the limit for him. I think he can play inside and outside just like we did with Armando Blunt. Shakir Skaggs, 5-star. He has caps at all spots, but should be just fine becoming a star pass rusher. Sinilau Sagapolu, 5-star. With caps I am not expecting for a 5-star player. And a third defensive tackle in Jason Washington, who has star development and no restriction on power moves, which is the most important skill for him. Enrique Butcher, elite development, and I'm really excited about him, even with these caps. We don't have a lot of great linebacker prospects on the team, so while these are not good caps in a vacuum, considering our situation, he should still become a regular player within a couple years. Raheem Lett, 5-star power rusher listed at outside linebacker. He has one cap, it's at run stopping. So we got really lucky with our 5-stars this year, that they have really high ceilings in most cases, at critical positions too. A lot of really good defensive line prospects. We go into the secondary. Ricky McKinley is one of our lowest rated incoming players at a 70. He was a 3-star. I believe he was a gem, but the caps are, a bit restrictive. We'll see if he ever becomes a starter. Could be one of those roster bubble players. And then Joaquin Long, one of the last high school players we brought into our class. I know he's got excellent run stopping and 81 tackling, and perhaps one day could become a starter. Dylan Chosen, who is going to be our next kicker. Star development. He's maxed out on kick power, and will only get so good with his accuracy, and we hope that it will be enough. For reference, we know that Willie Shembo had pretty rough accuracy at the beginning of his career as a freshman, but it got corrected afterwards. He had a 3-bar cap on his accuracy. Chosen's cap is a little more concerning. Let's build our schedule for this year. They've got us playing LSU in week 1. I'm guessing this is a pre-scheduled game deep into the future then, if that's popping up here as one of the kickoff games. I was just about to say that I'd like some easier matchups to open the year because we have uncertainty at quarterback and running back. But if LSU's meant to be this week 1 game, maybe I can get something in week 0 just to precede that game and get more prepared. But for the conference schedule, we've got NC State, Cal, Georgia Tech, UNC. They'll give us South Alabama late in the season, at least for now. But we close with 3 road games here. So week 9 is going to be one of our last chances to schedule a visit. So what I'll do instead is I'd like to open up this week here for South Alabama and make sure we're playing a home game at the end, because this can be a game where we have some recruiting visits coming. So let's face San Jose State here in the last game. Make sure that one's at home. Now let's play Sam Houston in week 0 then. I still want something before this LSU game. I do like that the ACC schedule has a lot of teams that we haven't seen either in a while, or in some cases, period. Like if we face Duke in this dynasty. But this is going to be our schedule. Sam Houston, LSU, USF will get us started. And hopefully we can quickly figure out who the right quarterback and running back is for this team. And just as we finish up a recruiting season, the next one begins. It never ends. We'll start off here with the 5-star players. There is only one that has us as their top team. A little bit surprising. Still going to look at the top running backs as well, as I'd like for us to continue being more of a run-oriented team. And I want to find some more linebacker depth for sure. I'll just put everybody here in the top 5 that has us on their list of teams already. But as far as our needs this year go, only 15 seniors and 5 on the offensive side. And only one position group has multiple, and that is guard. So not much needed on the offense, while the defense is going to lose 4 players along the D-line, 3 linebackers, and 2 safeties. Good year to, I think, focus on the back 7 defensively. And one thing I've tried to be a little more intentional about in my dynasties is not overfilling the depth chart. And in this case, I just had to cut 10 players because I've had, more depth than I need at certain positions. Receiver is one of those spots where there's so many underclassmen, I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of sense to recruit receivers this season. I would never say no to an elite talent at any position, but I think if we have all these freshmen and sophomores and the depth chart looks pretty good, then I think that the bar to become somebody on our board is extremely high at that position. Whereas linebacker, most 4-star gems are probably good fits for our board. Rawlings is senior, Pruitt is senior, Christmas a junior. Definitely want to get a lot more linebacker depth in the short term. And while we're going to lose some safeties this year, I feel like we already have the depth with all these freshmen. And some of these prospects were really good. I think one more thing to keep in mind is players that have already reached their ceiling. And if they're done developing, then it's going to be tough for a guy like Stan Perkins to get any serious playing time. If he's capped out at a 79 overall, core skills are done getting better. I have to kind of project out players that could be cut the next season. All right, so back on the board, here are the 5-star athletes. There are only 3 this year. We'll scout all of them. I have 20 players on the board. So far, it is all 5-star players and 4-star athletes. If you're a bust, I don't think you're going to be good enough to become a starter on this team. So 87 finesse moves in most situations here. I would probably still want to recruit these players, but I think we need to have extremely high standards at a lot of these spots. Deontay Vick, 94 speed, 92 acceleration with 88 juke. So there is a running back possibility. James Wing at middle linebacker is certainly getting an offer. All right, that's 3 busts already in the 5 stars. That's pretty unlucky. No gems yet. 13 players in, we finally get a gem in Taekwon Papo at offensive line prospect, so he has an offer. And then our last 5-star is Quentin Ramish, a left tackle pass protector archetype with gem, play action shield platinum. He'll be one of our top targets. We had 7 5-star players a year ago. We'll see how many we bring in this season, but I'm going to remove the players that were busts. A gem on elusive back Jamar Willingham, 4-star athlete. So we'll have some options there. Here's a quarterback prospect, Coco Macari. These 92 speed quarterbacks don't show up nearly as often as they did when the game first launched. And unless we have somebody solidified as our quarterback who's a sophomore or younger, we're going to keep bringing in at least 1 a season. Gem Ron Lampman, a run-stopping athlete. I had really good luck finding good run-stoppers last season, and the run-stoppers that are athletes still have really good zone coverage. The athletes are the ultimate prospects in this game. Wow, power back gem with 94 speed, Johnny Thompson. The 4 stars are more impressive than the 5s in some cases. What I'm also starting to look at a bit more is opportunity for position switches like we saw earlier with Mastrud. Marcus Fehoko at 6'1", 223, with that kind of speed and cover skill, why couldn't he play corner? Especially if his press is good. 97 speed at corner. Now we're talking. Moses Bredesen could be one of our targets. 99 speed and a gem. Nathan Winston. All right, you just got to scout these cornerbacks more and you will find some really good athletes, and you need them with the way receivers have speed in this game. You cannot be 7 or 8 points slower and get by. Titus Stonehouse is a gem with 95 speed. I also like Devontae Spoon a lot, but apparently we scouted him, but the deal breaker is going to be an issue that I don't think we can change. Carl Blade, a 90 speed outside linebacker. He has zone coverage. I don't know if there's any pass rush to go with this skill set, but an intriguing coverage linebacker. I'm not used to the outside linebackers actually being good in coverage, so I have a little bit of a blind spot there, usually scouting middle linebackers like we have for years in Madden. But I think we have the start of a really fun board this year. Again, focused on defense. But if there is a standout running back or two, you know I'm still going to be interested. And we've handed out 15 scholarship offers already. And here's the first bit of progress then, as running back Deontay Vick bumps us up to number 4 on his board. 6 on James Wing. Earl Westbrook has 6. I'm looking for more movement. Tashawn Bishop, the corner, puts us at number 2. And then locked out on a couple of these players. Not seeming to get a massive bump on a lot of these players. In some cases, we're not even getting into the top 9. Right off the bat, I'm not sure if we're going to have 7 5-stars like we did a season ago. I'm not sure this start is nearly good enough to get there. But most of our points are going to go into these 5-star players, and we'll worry about that for the next episode. But there's still one more thing I would like to do today. I would like to see the quarterbacks in action. I am on defense right now. We're going to see Colin Kunalik here first. The CPU is running the offense, so we can get an idea of how they're going to play, hopefully, when we get into actual games. I am sitting in just a cover 2 defense. I'll switch a coverage after a point, but I want to see some of the decision-making on these quarterbacks and if they show any struggles or any strengths, basically. So, Colin Kunalik getting the first go of it today, and so far just dumping short passes over the middle. And now I have him facing a cover 3 defense. The Tampa 2 stuff seemed a little bit easy, just taking short crossing patterns over and over again. But he's been getting the football out quick at least, and he hasn't thrown an interception quite yet. I'm not really sure if this is a great way to gauge anything, but this was suggested at one point last year as a way to just see guys play and test out different things. And it's better than nothing, I guess. Nice scramble there by Kunalik, avoiding a rush. I've switched it to hard flat to hopefully get him to throw it downfield a bit more. And that is a really nice throw in front of the safety to JoJo Trader. There's his first interception. It is Cam Pruitt who takes that one. But overall, he's looked pretty solid. There's a good pass to the outside, showing off some arm strength on that one. I feel like in week 1, I want to get a look at a lot of different players, and that's why I wanted a bit of an easier matchup. So hopefully we can experiment without worrying too much about getting that first win, and then setting us up to kind of know what we're doing when the games get tougher, which will be our second game against LSU. For the most part, though, if the short throws are given to him, he's taking them pretty quickly, which is what I want. Impressive throw again. What it's going to come down to, though, for Colin Kunalik is protecting the football. He threw a lot of interceptions as a freshman, and even a lot of interceptions in the time he got as a sophomore. And we'll see if that's been cleaned up, but he's looked good here in this little practice session. And this is freshman quarterback Shakir Barmore. He could legitimately start this year if he shows that he's the best quarterback. Number 1 ranked in the last recruiting class. Facing just the Tampa 2 defense here initially, an empty offensive formation, trying to force them to throw it downfield a bit more. Barmore has some speed. He can move out of the pocket and has that scrambler style, which I've wanted to see how that would play out for him. We're looking to see what kind of habits these guys have, how they respond to pressure. Do they get the football out quickly? That's why I went into so many replays with David Kinoy at the end of last year, because I wanted to see and understand why he was holding on to the football, and I felt that sometimes it was warranted, other times he's just not getting it out. Colin Kunalik did a pretty good job in the plays I gave him of avoiding sacks and turnovers in general. I think we just had a missed block there. So we'll see if Barmore shows the pocket presence that we're looking for out of a starting quarterback. But I think when we get to the Sam Houston game, probably Kunalik starts, and then Barmore gets his chance. And if neither one impresses, we could end up seeing a third quarterback enter the game. But I would hope that between those two, we can find an answer that we're not just settling for. So this is going to be a different look for Barmore. We are showing cover 2 and then rolling to a cover 3. So I just want to see if he makes quick decisions that get him in trouble or not. That's a nice throw out to Randy Titus, somebody else that is a real X factor for this season. He is more athletic, more skilled, and ready to take on a much greater workload this season. Barmore definitely seems very much willing to leave the pocket, go get yards that are there. Coverage is good, and with that, he's going to extend things by scrambling. The last thing I'm testing here is Barmore facing some 8-man coverages. So it can be tough to find good looks against this defense. Sometimes you have to take that check down. Want to see if he does it quickly or not. I do like him trying that throw there. Those are the kinds of throws that Kinoy seemed to give up last year. He wanted it to be like wide open. He wanted easy throws. And that led to a lot of sacks. There's a risky throw, and it was very catchable. I switched up the coverages once again. I just like watching how these guys play, and both quarterbacks have looked good. I haven't seen anything that stands out as a major negative or anything. I also think that the offensive line has done a pretty good job of giving him clean pockets to throw from. We'll probably get a much better idea of things in an actual game, but at least for the time being, hopeful for both of these quarterbacks, but only one can ultimately emerge as the starter. Last throw here for Barmore. It's going to be him breaking the pocket and taking it all the way inside the 10. Not a bad way to end practice. I'm really excited to get this season underway. A lot of our top players now on the roster are players that I brought in, and hopefully this team can surpass what we accomplished a year ago. Before week 1, I will look at numbers and some equipment and make some changes there. But it looks like in our next episode, we're going to play Sam Houston. I imagine we also get to the LSU game. And we'll see if we can answer the quarterback question as simply as possible. And perhaps the running back questions. But that is going to do it for today, everybody. Hope you enjoyed another offseason with the Miami Hurricanes Dynasty. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back with more of the Canes soon. Have a great day, everybody.